Could have stayed and listened to my grandson. Grandson played in the band.
Oh yeah, what's your dad?
Jason's oldest.
What was you playing?
He plays one guitar.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Sitting over outside and ready to do it. Yeah, Jason's oldest. So, he can pretty well play every instrument they got there. I don't know what happened to my kids and my grandkids. I don't know how to play radio.
Me too. My sister was a guitar. She thought they played beautifully.
You usually park here, but I thought you know park with me. I thought I seen you over there.
So you didn't get a chance to say hi, but I saw you. Say hi. I think I'll go ahead and start. Is that okay?
Yep, I'm just trying to hook up the internet.
All right, I will call this meeting to order. It is 7:32. Would you please join for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is roll call, please.
Mayor Terry Wycombe,
Here.
Vice Mayor Steve Sanger, Councilmember Darrell Gardner,
Here?
Councilmember Tanya Lumen,
Here.
Councilmember Bruce Seelock,
Here.
Councilmember Jacqueline Wells, Councilmember Chris Weisenberg.
Here.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. The next thing on our agenda is swearing in of our new city manager. And I will turn the floor over to you, Judge.
Oh, thank you, sir. All right. Well, certainly a lot more people here than I'm used to on Monday mornings for court. But yeah, we're here to swear in. The swearing out will come later. Our new city manager, obviously interim, and you still wanted the job, so we appreciate that. And if we can get Mr. Thomas Sardi up here, our new city manager. All right, so usually when I swear in the police, I don't give them a copy. I listen to me. Yeah, can you remember? Well, I'll cut you some slack. Oh, yeah. All right, you'll raise your right hand. I state your name.
I, Thomas E. Sarvey,
Having been duly appointed to the City of Rawlins City Manager,
having been duly appointed to City Rawlins City Manager,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support, obey, and defend the Constitution
that I will support, obey, and defend the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Wyoming,
and the Constitution of the State of Wyoming,
that I have not knowingly violated any law
that I have not knowingly violated any law
related to my election or appointment,
related to my election or appointment,
or caused it to be done by others,
or caused it to be done by others,
and that I will discharge the duties of my office
and that I will discharge the duties of my office
with fidelity.
with fidelity.
Congratulations.
Thank you. My wife and the third row back.
Okay, well, and I would like to thank the family, because obviously with these types of jobs comes a lot of, what did you say, time considerations, and that is time away from
Yeah.
family
So people
and
choose it.
wives and kids, and certainly we appreciate that on behalf of all the city of Rawlins, which I guess I get to do that because it's my floor. I would like to thank you, the family, for loading us your time with your husband and your father, because we're going to take a lot of it, and it's just the way it works. So thank you too. And yeah, fantastic. Now I have to sign all this stuff. That doesn't mean
That's true.
yes, you do. All right. We'll sign both of those, and then it's official. I'll look at it. It'll be on Facebook, or you know.
It's live
Oh,
on the YouTube, so.
I should probably quit rambling. All right, there you go. Take that. Excellent. Any other pictures? You gotta ask, you gotta get the pictures.
Be the center of
As
attention.
the judge said, you're sharing it all.
Tom.
Oh, sorry.
Get everybody at the right height and the right place.
Okay, ready? Beautiful. Did we want one with council?
Yes, and the judge.
And the judge.
And the judge. Oh, yeah, they want you,
Oh,
yeah.
just one's a good picture.
No, just take for the judge.
We had to go get our picture
No,
taken.
with council and family, right?
You can do
What do you
whatever you
think?
want, but I don't want the
Heck,
council.
yeah.
Yeah, we can do all
All right,
right.
come on up.
We should.
Well, let's go back.
I'll stand there.
You want to sit on the steps so that they can be in front?
That is what I am.
That works for me. Come on in.
Oh, you're still being hidden, buddy. I'm sorry. Don't go in front.
I know. Tom Bates.
Very appreciative of tall families.
Judge, just go over
Oh,
one.
come
Just
on.
go over one. Yeah, there you go. Chris, can you come over here? Just so we can actually see your face. Thank you. There we go. Okay. Thank you all. Cheese. Sorry. Okay.
Judge.
Somebody's got to come back.
I don't think so.
Yeah, we can do it now. Yeah.
All right, now, since there's a lot of people here to wish you well, Tom, we have there's some hors d'oeuvres and whatnot, I guess, Lanny?
Light refreshments.
Light refreshments. So we're gonna take a 15-minute break so people can shake your hand and enjoy you. Okay?
Thank you.
So let's go get something. You want something, Bruce? I know, but do you want some?
That's like one of my had all the trees. It's oh yeah, they're actually not. You have to be directed by anyone. They don't let just like schools come or wild they can come and they were. Yeah. So it's basically. But you really have to
How are you? Good, good. Yeah.
Question.
Yeah, so we have, I'm gonna forget the name of the group.
I'm being nosy.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm here. I'll
Yeah, so Sloan City, I believe Saratoga is the ones that are interning for the city right now. So there's three of them, and I forgot all their names, but this he's going to be representing tonight, so he's here tonight. And then there's two other the alternate.
Gotcha. And then I saw, I think it was Committee that was filling in.
Yeah, so she was last week, so she's part of that firm. So she was the last council meeting, and then he's going to do this one, and then next week, and then gives him a better idea of how everything is.
So, just a general question. Is, did she just lay off, or did she other issues?
Unfortunately, just because it's
10-4. So you guys don't have, there's nothing like publicly announced about.
There might be in one of the meetings. I can look and get with you, and then find that meeting to share with you.
So tonight was my night to get away.
Okay.
And when I can't, I try to get away.
Yeah. Do you have a?
I'm just curious.
Yeah.
I'm looking for girls.
Right. Yeah. No. I believe. I'm not sure if it. Yeah. I can't remember if there was anything in any of our meetings. I can look though, and it doesn't take very long.
That's all good.
You can ask them. If that individual wants to tell you, they can tell you yes or no. The previous attorney.
Oh, she still is.
Yeah, and I thought I seen her here, but she might be gone.
I just remember I was paying my water bill. I think it was June. She was staring at me. What the heck you staring at me for? Anyway, just
Yeah. Well, yeah, no,
so I got another question. 6 penny tax. Is that what this is?
yeah. Was it, I can't remember. I can't
So
remember.
I'm trying to get more attention, but I just, again, I'm not trying to put you on the spot.
No, you're good. Let's see, I could give it, let me get your, do you got an email? I can email?
S. Joel Garcia. Garcia.
Funny how much gets done when I don't do anything.
92. At Gmail.
Gmail?
Yeah.
Let me. I can send that over to you, and I can also send you where things are going with that. If that would help, would that be good?
Because I could have swore you guys voted in Washington Street to get me paid for 6 pennies. And
So there's.
I drive up every day, 4 times a day.
There's a list of them, and I believe that was one we discussed. Even with the water line system at one point with the engineer. I think it was proposed as an idea trying to get water up to. I think that was one down to the. I want to say that was one to the cemetery as well.
I've had Brett Sugar.
Getting the river water around for that. So it wasn't just treated water anymore. But that was, I mean, that was a while ago. I'd have to. My memory is
I'm
horrible.
not trying to. I just thought it'd be top of your head there. So it's all good, brother.
No, but I can pull it up quick. So,
When you find time, it's all good.
yeah. Like that.
Thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm a pariah around here, so.
Yeah.
How you been, Bruce?
Good going.
That's the way I feel.
No.
We're going to have to do some exercising.
Trust me.
DeBario was just telling me, and I knew this, but I didn't know this. Ari is his great niece.
That's right. Oh, yeah.
Great niece, right?
Yeah, because Nina and I can't remember how they're related, but yeah, it is. Yeah, it's great.
So Nina's his great niece.
I believe so. I'm horrible with. I don't even know our own family's tree.
We've never had a great. We had great, but never a great.
I know.
So that's pretty impressive if you ask me.
Yeah, I believe it's. Yeah, I don't know.
Nina's
You got one. You got one.
I don't know. Yeah, but I don't know.
You got one in there, ain't you?
So that's the son of.
I didn't hear that one.
I don't know.
You're trying to talk to me.
And I'll just start. Yeah, that's her dad. So then that would be his aunt.
So
Her
his
dad.
brother is one of
No. Fort Collins. He lives, I think. That's
Okay, are we?
nice.
Stupid glasses.
Oh, and then he was telling me about what
You know,
happened.
you wear them things around your neck, and all it does is collect dust,
He says,
and you put them on. So I went, I was gonna order,
please don't, and I don't know why,
I was gonna order glasses. Oh, because I cannot read, yeah, I've done that. Lock them, and they're on my head.
using a flashlight to find your own.
Oh, the
Never
dad.
done that.
So I'm gonna meet them.
Hey, Tom. Hey, Tom.
I do need to
Tom.
grab this because I have to.
Did I get that internet fixed? Mine just said yes. I went to go in through to the internet. Wouldn't even let me go in there.
It's not.
I'll just talk.
I had
Mine
to,
came right up.
So yeah, I had to go into
It's
my
the
phone
big
and,
phone hotspot,
which is fine, but
absolutely.
can you get a charger possibly for an iPhone? Just in case? Yeah, just a USB, USB-C to USB or to Lightning. I'm looking for an iPhone charger.
Okay.
I can't operate them things.
It's on here. Okay.
This is like Samsung work phone, right? And I'm like,
Okay.
I don't know what to do.
Love you.
I don't know how long we've been in recess, but it's probably time.
Close. It was like 55 or something like that would be good. That's when I looked at
55.
55.
So you guys know, there's a little bag that's like got like stripes in it. It's like a fabric bag, and there's always one in the back. It's hard, yeah. Oh, that's hard. Or it's just in my office.
Well, I started this morning about 9:30 in David Rader's swimming pool because he filled it and then said, would you put new numbers around it? So rather than reaching over the side for the heights, you know, I got in. And it wasn't bad.
Those magnets are.
Magnets don't stick to ceramic.
No, I know.
Oh, different subject.
Those magnets are a little bit.
And, you know, I have to apologize. I never did stick any in paint. I'll do it tonight when I get home.
You're fine. I just don't know if it would.
Stretch them out. Like car magnets, they're usually for stencils. But it's getting paint on them. So
Magnetic stencils that you can't clean off.
Alright, are we ready?
I mean, my battery should last through it. I would imagine I charged it on, you know.
Are you just using yours as a hotspot?
Yeah.
Okay.
I just want to make sure it's going to last.
Yeah. Do you mind if I just plug
No,
this
go
in?
ahead. No, go ahead.
Yeah, I couldn't get the internet to work over here.
Well, and do you want me to get the city's ones, or do you have unlimited data?
Yes. I ain't worried.
Okay. Yeah, there's always one in my office.
Okay.
So.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, we ready to go again? All right, I'll call this meeting back to order. It is 7:53, and and then my computers. Oh my goodness. Let's see.
You need the motion?
Next thing on the agenda is to approve the agenda. Councilman Lumen.
Make a motion to move to approve the August 1st, 2023 City Council agenda as presented.
Second.
Been a motion made and seconded to approve the August 1st, 2023 agenda as presented. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, open online voting, and I'll vote yay because my computer's...
Online voting is open. Online voting has closed. The motion passes with 5 yeas.
All right, thank you. Next thing on our agenda is the consent agenda. Councilman Weisenberg.
I move to approve the consent agenda of August 1st, 2023 as presented.
Second.
There's been a motion made and seconded to approve the consent agenda of August 1st, 2023 is presented. Is there any discussion? Councilman Garner?
Could we remove item B for discussion?
Councilman Weisler?
Can we just discuss it, why it's in consent agenda in discussion?
I don't know, it just says that any item can be removed. I didn't know if we had to remove it first.
We have discussion during this, and that's after the motion was made and seconded, we have discussion, so. An item shouldn't have to be removed to have a discussion on that one item, correct?
Correct.
I believe so.
That is correct. So yes, you can have.
I'm just scared, I mean,
Okay,
is it,
that's fine.
if that works?
Yeah.
All right, so has there been a second of the consent agenda?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry, I
Then
got
we
derailed,
open
sorry.
for discussion, correct?
Is there any discussion? And I will open with this one thing, and that is I'll abstain because under accounts payable, my company has presented a bill to the city and it is in there, so. And you had something, Councilman Garner?
Yes. On July 18th, under the minutes, under unfinished business, on the ordinance on the third and final reading, the motion to call the question isn't listed in the minutes. So that's, I just wanted to point that out, that it was missing.
Would you put that in the form of a motion for a change?
Yeah, we could do that.
Okay, somebody want to second that?
I'll second.
Okay, there's been a motion made and seconded to correct the minutes of, what was it,
July 18th.
July 18th regular council meeting. In the minutes, it does not, excuse me, say that again.
So under item 8, unfinished business, ordinance third and final reading, it's just missing the call to vote or call the question, excuse me.
Councilman Weisenberg?
There's a motion and second already, right?
Yes.
Yes.
In discussion.
Yes.
So it was a call to vote, not a call to question, just so that's clear. So we get that clarified.
We were in the middle of,
And I said call the vote, or call to vote.
okay, so, okay, call to vote
That's-
is missing
yeah.
from here then.
Yep.
Thank you.
Got that? Okay. On the, we're going to vote on the correction. Discussion? Anybody, all in favor, say aye of the correction?
Aye.
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 And then back to the minutes as amended of July 18th.
Point of order.
Yes.
So that should have been the only motion we have to vote on, if that correct? It was an amended motion that we just voted on, so it should
To
pass.
add it in, yes, so.
So that was to pass and add that.
Okay, so let me back up. So will you please open online voting for the main motion as amended, I guess is the way I should say it.
So just to be clear, we are amending it to approve the minutes of July 5th, July 18th as amended, and the payroll of July 2nd. We are taking out the accounts payable to be voted on later
No, it will stay on there. I will just abstain.
from the whole consent agenda.
Right.
Okay.
Is there any further discussion? Please open online voting.
Online voting is open. Online voting has closed. The motion passes with 4 yeas and 1 abstain. The 1 abstain was Mayor Wycombe.
All right, thank you. Next on the agenda is citizens' participation. This is a time set aside for the public to comment to the city council. It is in pursuant of resolution number 2C-96. It sets a time limit for public comment of 5 minutes for anything that is not on the agenda. Is there anybody here that would like to speak to the council? If so, please come forward and say your name, sign up, and tell us what you want to tell us. Seeing nobody, we will move on to the next thing on the agenda. He is employee of the second quarter, and I will turn the floor over to HR Director Stephanie Paulson. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor and Council. I'm excited once again to be able to present our Employee of the Quarter. So we'll just jump right in. So I received multiple nominations for this individual. Just wanted to announce our Employee of the Quarter is Rick Hooper. So we're grateful for him. So I'll just say a couple of things about him, then I'll have him come up and whatever. Okay. So in his nominations, one individual said he knows everything there is to know about our department and goes above and beyond daily during work hours and even after he is off the clock to assure success for not only his job, but for others. I thought that was really, really sweet. And then another person wrote in, besides his own duties, he's had to pick up IT. Very appreciated, exclamation point, which is fantastic. So I'm really grateful for all that he's done with that. Another one said, wearing multiple hats, performing tirelessly as administrator and City of Rawlins tech for all computer issues. And I wanted to say just a little bit about Rick for a minute. He just seems to be one of those people that always has a smile on his face. He's willing to help out wherever needed, as seen by this. He's stepped in and done our IT multiple times over the years when we've had people on vacation or people who have left the city for the period of time, and just really grateful for him and stepping in and doing above and beyond, doing great things. So, Rick, do you want to come up? Mike, do you want to come say something? So thank you. We'll give this to you. Mike.
Is your speech ready?
Yeah.
I'll start with a quick question. Mr. and Mrs. Hooper, are you surprised by any of this?
No.
No, I didn't think so. I've been working in my profession, our profession, for almost 3 decades, and I've been very fortunate every day to go to work with people that were highly dedicated, highly professional, and literally risk their lives every day just to have a chance to help other people. When I came here, I wasn't surprised to learn that the new people I was working with are just like the old people I was working with. And when I work with Rick and all of our brothers and sisters every day, I couldn't be more proud. And Rick, I thank you so much for everything that you do for all of us.
Thank you.
And Daria.
Thank you, Rick. Very, very much is deserved. Thank you so much. All right. The next thing on the agenda is another fun item. It's a presentation of a Community Builder Award for August 2023. And I will turn the floor over to that committee. And this is members of the committee. I know you all have names, so I'll let you tell us your names.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor and Council, members of the committee here. Yes, more fun this evening. So the Community Builder Award, as we know, is a monthly award the city presents to local businesses, organizations, individuals for their volunteer service, sponsorship, promotion of programs and events, outstanding service in the interest of the city, and for other contributions significant to Rawlins' quality of life. The volunteer committee is very proud and excited to present the August 2023 Community Builder Award to St. Christopher's Highway of Carbon County. And I believe Myra Miller would like to say a few more things about this.
Thanks. I'm going to go ahead and ask St. Christopher's Highway to come up and join us. It's just a small amount of all the people that they were able to come tonight. You can see it's a very large group. St. Christopher's Highway of Carbon County is a perfect example of many people coming together to meet our community needs. St. Christopher's Highway's board includes representatives from 7 local churches: Catholic, Chapel Car Bible, Cooperative Parish, Episcopal, LDS, Methodist, and Real Life, as well as the Rawlins Police Department. They work hand in hand with churches throughout the county, nonprofit agencies, and law enforcement countywide. When St. Christopher's first began discussing what need would be their initial focus, this diverse group of faith-based organizations identified a group with no definitive assistant for years: stranded travelers. Before these individuals would reach out to law enforcement, churches, or just stand on the corner. St. Christopher's now provides a phone number they can call for help, and is run by volunteers from these various churches. Volunteers who are willing to answer the call during the day and take time to help someone in need, whether that is meeting them at a gas station to fill up their car or working to get them a bus ticket home. St. Christopher's is appreciated by law enforcement countywide for their assistance. They worked with law enforcement to create a process to effectively and safely help those who are on the margins of society. From last August, when they started, through June, they have served 271 individuals who otherwise would not have a specific place to turn. They've spent approximately $1,500 each month, funded by local donations from individuals and churches, as well as a grant from the Episcopal Church of Wyoming, and discounts from local businesses such as Mike's Big City and the Brickyard Inn. St. Christopher's Highway also helps in other ways. They created hundreds of blessing bags for travelers or locals in a traumatic situation, which include necessities such as socks, hairbrushes, and toys that will make people's lives just a little bit better. They are distributed to agencies throughout the county. They're also tied in with the C4 Emergency Operations Center and act as a potential source of volunteers in an emergency. They organize a reversed Advent drive, which led to thousands of items being donated to local organizations such as St. Vincent, Stepping Stones Youth Home, the library, and more. Through their focus on the common vision of serving those in need, they have created a new organization which has impacted hundreds of people in less than a year. St. Christopher's Highway is an inspiration to all of us to grow in our compassion and work together to make a difference in whatever way we can. And I'm going to turn it over to the president, Reverend Bobby Fitzhugh.
Thank you very much, Honorable Mayor and Council. St. Christopher's Highway of Carbon County is very happy to be in this community and in this county. Myra gave you a good background of what we've done. We take our name from St. Christopher, who's the patron saint of travelers. And we just believe as a group that our goal is always to feed the hungry, to clothe the naked, to give those a drink who are thirsty. We take our mandate from Matthew 25, and as Myra indicated, we are not just faith-based organizations. We work with a lot of social service agencies in the community. Our executive director is Shauna Roberts. I'll just introduce who's here. Our board, some of our board members, you might know Chief Mike Ward, Eileen Miller, Mike Lujan. I think that's all that are here, right? Janita left, yes. We have an 8-member board, but we do have some just little flyers we'll give each one of. And yeah, we're just grateful and appreciate the recognition. We've branched out to all of Carbon County, and we now have connections in Sinclair, in Saratoga, Encampment, Medicine Bow, Elk Mountain, and Baggs Dixon. So we try to serve all of Carbon County, getting people where they need to go. So
I'll
Thank
tell
you.
you, that is an incredible accomplishment in a short amount of time. You guys have done wonders for people that cannot help themselves. And so, thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. Oh, yeah.
So I was just gonna say, can I add something real quick? So as luck would have it, so first off, you know, it's not just something that's needed in this community, but we all do this because it's the right thing. It's absolutely the right thing. And as luck would have it, 30 minutes before I came, some people came into the restaurant and that had broke down, and they came in and we're feeding them because that's what we're here for. And without the volunteers, I mean, every one of these volunteers, God bless them. And God bless the people that we're helping, but especially God bless the city of Rawlins for the support. Thanks, guys.
So you're gonna scoot this back just a little bit. And then here's this. And then here's the big tracks. Oh, thank you.
Without you, this wouldn't have started.
The 2 mics in the back.
That's right.
Yeah, is it straight?
Yes.
Is it right side up?
Perfect.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you all again for what you do. All right, next thing on our agenda is the city manager report and staff reports, and I'll turn the floor over to you, Tom.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor and City Council. I'd like to begin tonight, our Recreation Director, Mr. Sehan, has a recreation report to start tonight, so he wants to talk a little bit about grants.
Okay.
Thank you, City Manager and Honorable Mayor and Council. I just wanted to give you an update. I got a great email this morning on 2 grants that the City of Rawlins is receiving. It's been a long process. Started writing the grant in September. It was due November. It's a Land and Water Conservation Fund grant. And so one of them is for making cart path improvements at the golf course, which is in desperate need in some areas. And so these are matching funds. However, what we did was for the golf cart path grant, we utilized impact assistance funds as leverage for the 50% match. So we have $100,000 that we can put into the golf cart path improvements with that funding. The other one is Washington Park tennis courts. So since I started here 2.5 years ago or so, they had been closed, I think, for a few years anyways before that, because of the surface and the poor quality. So in 2016, the City of Rawlins received a grant from the CCSD #1 Recreation Board for $125,000. That was to resurface 4 tennis courts, and for whatever reason, that the funding was never utilized. So in the last 2 years, I've gone back to the Rec Board asking for an extension for that grant, because we can utilize local grants as a match towards Land and Water Conservation Fund grants. Thankfully, the Rec Board has honored that extension twice. So we were able to utilize $125,000 in Rec Board grant plus $25,000 in-kind work that our parks crew will do for the project to leverage to get a $275,000 grant for the Washington Park tennis courts through the Land and Water Conservation Fund. So that'll completely redo those tennis courts, and it'll not only benefit our community, it'll benefit the high school and the high school tennis program. And so we're really excited to finally get, after all this time, because once they say you kind of sort of probably got the grant, but it has to go through the federal level and all these other things, like the state makes the recommendation, because it's technically a federal funding that's funneled through the state of Wyoming. And so we've had to play that game and submit additional paperwork and additional things with properties and things like that, and boundary maps and all that kind of stuff that has been happening for the last couple of months. But this morning I got that email saying it went to grants.gov. Don't start spending the money yet because the notice to proceed hasn't happened, but you can actually start the bid process. So it's not going to be something that happens overnight with our construction season. There's no way we're going to get those courts completed this fall. So, and I don't even know that I want to go out to bid this fall because we want companies to be able to come and see the court surface without snow. So we might go out to bid early spring, and then in hopes that maybe the first part of the project could be done next fall and then finalize the following spring and summer. So it could take a little bit of time, but I just wanted to let you know that 100% of these funds, or I'm say 0% of these funds come out of the city's general fund. They're all from local matches. So we're excited about that. Wanted to let
That
you know.
is
So,
exciting.
anyways, thank you.
Thank you. Yep.
Okay, first off tonight, want to let everybody know that the City View, that's the City of Rawlins, it's the recreation guide and the happenings throughout the city. We have submitted that to be published, and it should be out in everyone's mailboxes within the next couple weeks by the time we meet again. And so that's a great resource to know what's happening throughout the city. Talking again about grants, to let the City Council know that there is an ARPA grant opportunity. We're calling it ARPA 4. It's kind of the next round, and I believe this is the last round of ARPA funds that the state will put out. And we have a couple resolutions later on the agenda for that, but what we are looking at there is to design our transmission line, the spring boxes, all the way from the springs through the collection systems down to the transmission line to the water treatment plant, and then it'll be the iron ductile line, the high pressure line that leaves the tank farm that goes into town. And so it will be the design of that, the engineering. And in talks with state representatives that we've been in communication with, we felt that this would at least establish the project. We would have it designed, we would know what we want to do with the blow-off valves, the air release valves, and at that point, we feel like we would have an actual project documented and designed, and then we can pursue other funding for the rehabilitation of the rest of it. So anyway, that is later on the agenda, but I wanted you to know that we are asking for that grant. The application for that is due August 4th of this week, and then the grants will be awarded through the SLIB board in October. Is when we'll go over to Cheyenne and explain our project to the SLIB board. On the agendas each month under the department reports, what we would like to do, and we've discussed with Mayor Wycombe this, we want to start the department head reporting again to council. And what we would like to do is put that in a form of a written update. So at the second meeting, the department heads, and I told them to keep it to 1 page each. And what they will do is put in their updates, what's happening in their departments. And they will also have statistics from the previous month for you that will be consistent each month. Now, as we envision this, they would not get up to verbally give those reports, but they're in there for you to read and to ask questions if you have them. We'll have the department heads here to come up that you could ask questions if they're in there. And if everything is fine with the update, then we'll just move on with that. But we'd like to do that, and then under the city manager report, I also will put in a written update as to what's happening, and I will email that to council the Friday before the meeting so that you'll have that, and it'll be on the agenda. And then I will also give my oral report to you at the council meeting still. But at least that will be on the board docs for you to review and to update. Let me see. There will not be music in the park this Thursday. The county fair is here, but we will have one more music in the park on August 10th. And the band will be the Man Cubs. And they will be here. And that will be our finale for Music in the Park for the summer. I believe that's all I have to report, so.
All right. Thank you, sir. All right, next thing on our agenda is direction from City Council to City Manager. Does anybody have anything? Councilman Lumen?
I have a question about your department reports. You said that would all be emailed to us. Is there any way also to add it to the agenda, perhaps under city manager report and staff reports? That way the public has access.
Yes, it will be attached to that they'll have. But if you wanted that early, I could email that out when those come in.
Both.
But they will be on board docs so that the community can read those.
Can see them as
Yes.
well. I appreciate that. And I just want to thank our city lawyer. We had someone ask a question about the procedure with Title 19, and they gave the council a very, very good report on the answering that question. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Anybody else? All right. Thank you. Next thing on our agenda is unfinished business. We have none. So we will go to new business. I need a...
I have a question first.
Sure.
On this one. It does take 4 board members to approve something, right?
Correct. July 12th, was there somebody missing, or why are you asking that? I'm sorry.
July 12th was a special council meeting, and I believe neither I or Daryl, or Councilmember Daryl Gardner were there.
Okay.
I'm not trying to be rude, but we can't discuss anything until it's a motion made, even if it's a motion to amend this and table it or whatever we need to do.
Okay, so I would entertain a motion. You're right. Councilman Weisenberg.
I'd move to approve July 12th, 2023 special council meeting minutes as presented.
Second.
There's been a motion made and seconded to approve the minutes of July 12th, 2023 special council meeting as presented. Is there discussion? So I'm going to ask you, Seth, if at that special meeting there were, I'm trying to think, 5 of us here, right? 5 of us here, but it was a different bunch. So out of that 5, there's only 3 of us here tonight. Can we approve these minutes, or does it have to wait till the next meeting?
My position would be that the board still has a quorum, right? You act as a board, not specific. I believe that you could approve it as a board, and you're asking the board, not the specific.
But they can approve the minutes if they weren't at that meeting.
Okay, if there's a special reading for the special, then yes, you need 4 of you then.
You need 4.
Okay, so we'll have to postpone this vote till next time. Can you speak into the microphone?
Sorry.
Yes.
Pull it towards you and yell.
Is it on? Kind of on?
Can you hear him, Chris?
A little better.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Yes, you should have 4 of you that were there to approve the minutes.
Okay.
Just real quick, in the past, and I don't know this, I get legal counsel, but in the past, it's been a majority of the members that was at that meeting would be approved at that point. Is that not the case then?
We'll just go ahead and I'll look at the rules. I'll take this under advisement. I'll get back to you with a report on this and see what it is specifically that you're asking.
Okay.
Who
And it
needs to
wouldn't
be
hurt to
present to make
postpone
those
these
votes.
till next time to get clarification. Is that acceptable to everybody? Okay, so
I'd move to amend the motion to postpone July 12th, 2023 special council meeting minutes as presented until next council meeting.
I'll second it.
And a motion made and seconded to postpone the approval of the minutes of July 12th, 2023 special council meeting until the next meeting. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, please put in online voting.
Online voting is open. Online voting has closed. The motion passes with 4 yeas and 1 abstain. The 1 abstain is Councilmember Lumen.
Okay, next thing on the item, Councilman Weisenberg.
Move to approve the lease agreement for a new 2023 Caterpillar Model 81611 landfill compactor, Series J69000137.
Second.
Been a motion made and seconded to approve the lease agreement for a new 2023 Caterpillar Model 816-11 landfill compactor, serial number J6N00137. Is there any discussion? Councilman?
Yeah, I just have a question on the item for price of the lease agreement. It's not in here?
Well, I believe what this was, and maybe, Tom, I should turn over to you, because I think what we originally made the motion for was a 2022 Caterpillar, and they ended up giving us a 2023 for the same price, if I remember right.
Yeah, it's that the wrong year was in the original motion. All that we're asking for here is to recognize it as a 23 model.
Okay.
Is there any further discussion?
Tom, the agreement does have it in there. If you go to page... Okay, so the price is on page... Hold on 1 second. The lease price is on page 3 of the lease, and then it breaks it down of the lease.
It's on page 9, correct?
Is on page 9. It breaks it all down, what the payments are. But the dollar amount is on one page, but if you add these all up, it still adds up to the other page, yes. So.
Councilman Weisenberg?
So do we need to have that in that motion, I guess, is my question for a legal question. Does the dollar amount of that lease agreement have to be in the motion for legal?
We have a lease, 23 Caterpillar, but the motion did not include the lease amount, the dollar amount.
Right, and you're asking if you can approve the lease without knowing what the dollar amount is?
Yeah, usually, we need to include the amount in the motion, correct?
Do you have the dollar amount available?
Yes, $101,040, correct?
Well, I mean, would you guys just like to amend
I would-
the item to include the price?
I'd amend that motion to include that price of $101,040.
Second.
Okay.
Thank you.
Is there any further discussion, Councilman Garner?
I was just, can I have a second to read this on page 7? Because there's another number here, another price. That's much bigger than what we just said. I just want to make sure that this is different than we used to be. You see that on page 7?
Hold on, I'll bring up the lease again.
I think that's just the purchase price of
Total
that. We,
purchase,
yeah,
right?
total
Okay.
purchase, we're
Purchase,
just
yes.
leasing it for that amount.
Okay.
That's what I'm seeing.
Yep. Okay, thank you.
Yep, but it's on page 9, it explains it all. Okay?
Further discussion? Please open online voting.
Okay, hold on 1 second, I just needed to get the finished dollar amount. Online voting is open. Online voting has closed. The motion passes with 5 yeas.
All right, thank you. The next thing on our agenda is item C. I would entertain a motion. Councilman Garner? Councilman Lumen, I'm sorry.
I move to approve for Rawlins Fire Department to enter into an agreement with LEICA Geosystems, Inc., DBA, doing business as SmartNet antenna installation at Fire Station Number 2.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Been a motion made and seconded to approve Rawlins Fire Department to enter into an agreement with LEICA Geosystems, Inc., doing business as SmartNet with installation of an antenna to be located at Fire Station Number 2. Is there any discussion? Councilman Weisenberg?
Can we just hear about this exact thing from our
Chief's here,
representative?
yeah, Chief's here.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear your question.
Battalion Chief.
I just want to hear and understand a little more about this, make sure there's nothing from public-wise it's crying out after our last.
Our mayor and council, I don't know a lot about this. I have some information that I've read from the company and those kinds of things. What this is a small antenna. We're talking about a 2-foot little thing that just gets mounted on the building. What it does is, if you were to subscribe to their service, if it's a paid thing, you know, if you want to subscribe to them, it helps you with GPS location, a lot of things. Construction companies use it, surveyors use it, agricultural. You know, if you have a big ag tractor that drives by GPS and you want to put the tire tracks exact in the same place you did the last time, that's what it does for you, those kind of things. Other things that I've read, it has to do with driverless cars, those kind of things, keeping them in lanes. It's basically a network to help GPS guidance and helps very specific to that.
So it's not huge.
No, it's just a little antenna. They were told me that they don't even have to drill a hole in the building. They just mount it on the building and it goes from there. So.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, please open online voting. Thank you, Alan.
Thank you.
Online voting is open. Online voting has closed. The motion passes with 5 yeas.
Thank you. Next thing on our agenda is item D. Councilman Weisenberg.
I move to accept and place on file fiscal year 2022 financial audit report as presented by Atlas CPAs and Advisor P LLC.
Second.
Been a motion made and seconded to accept the for year 2022 financial audit report as presented by Atlas CPAs and Advisor PLLC. Is there any discussion? And I will turn the floor over to you, Tom.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor, City Council. Tonight you have before you the fiscal year 22 audit. The reason this is on the agenda tonight, we just received the final report today. We need this to file for the ARPA grant on Friday, so we made sure it was complete. What I would like to do just very briefly is hit some of the highlights of the report for you. The auditors could not be here tonight or Zoom in because of other engagements that they had. And so I will go through it briefly with you and just kind of hit the high points. I will go into as much detail as you would like, or as least as you would like. I do have one copy if somebody would like to follow. Crowd, if you would like it. I believe each of you have it in front of you. The report starts off with a transmittal letter. It's a letter that I wrote just to present the audit to the council. And it kind of goes over us as a city, our organization, and explains things to a non-city reader as to how our city functions and what we do. The independent auditor's report is on page 1, 2, and 3 of the report. I'd like to start on page 3 and work backwards a little bit on this report. I guess I'd like to start on page 2. In the second paragraph, it explains that the auditor's responsibility for the audit. It says that our objectives are to obtain reasonable assurance about whether the financial statements as a whole are free from material misstatements, whether due to fraud or error, and to issue an auditor's report that includes our opinion. So what the auditors do is they take our numbers, test them, and what they do is give an opinion as to whether they are correct or not correct. Okay, and on page 1, under the opinions on the second paragraph is where they give their opinion, and they state in there that they feel that it reflects fairly our financial position in all material respects and everything. So what that is a clean opinion. Okay, so they've looked at all of the numbers that we sent them, tested them, and they say yes, it does reflect accurately, materially where the city is at. So I just kind of wanted to share that with you, that that's kind of their responsibility. On page 4, as part of their testing, they look at what we call our internal controls. That's our internal checks and balances to make sure the processes that we use have proper control on it. And they also have a report in the back to say that they tested that and they found those to be adequate, for our city, that everything is in place and there are no audit findings at all through here. So everything that we had was clean. There isn't anything to work on really as far as they pointed out as audit findings. Starting on page 5 is what we call management's discussion and analysis, and I won't get into that, but know that report that begins on page 5 and it ends on page 17. I was the one that wrote that, and it is analysis of the financials in the back. So as you read through, you could learn a lot about what the audit report says by reading through the management's discussion and analysis. The first statement to look at is on page 18. Now, years ago, there was a GASB statement called GASB 34. And what GASB 34 did is they wanted all governments to do a full accrual basis financial statement so that it can be compared to businesses or the outside world. So if you look on page 18, this is what we call our statement of net position. And if you were to look at outside businesses, this would compare to that as to where we stand on the full accrual basis of accounting. And a few things in here that I will point out is, one, property and equipment is on this statement. When we get back to the fund statement in the back, it will not be on there. Okay, so here it's, like I said, we're going to show it as a full accrual. One thing that I will note under property and equipment is the accumulated depreciation. If you see governmental activities, it's about $20,147,000. If we were to fund the depreciation, that's the amount that we would want to have in a checking account, because that's the part of the assets that have been used. Okay, and I don't know if we will get to that amount, but in the next few months, I'd like to put some aside towards that. Okay, a new GASB statement that came out this year was GASB 87, and where that's going to show up is up under the assets. You'll see a line item up there called leases receivable of about $2 million, $2,124,000. And what that is we have 3 leases that fall under GASB 87. One of those is the Come and Go convenience store is on city land and they pay us rent. And we have some towers through, I believe it's Union Wireless and one other. And what that is the value of those leases as if they were all due today. And so you'll watch over time, that amount will go down as we get towards the end of those leases. One other thing to note on there, under the assets, we have an interfund advances receivable of $1,229,000. You will see that same amount down below under the business type activities as an interfund advances payable. And what those amounts are is, one is the advance from the general fund to the water fund for the construction of the Sage Creek Phase 1. And the other one is a loan from the wastewater sewer for the when it flooded a while back, and we had to replace things. So those are the loans that you'll see there. Is there any other questions or anything you would like to know on that particular statement? On page 19, you'll just see our program expenses and revenues on there. And what those do is all of those are on the full accrual basis of accounting again, and it just kind of shows our expenditures and our revenues through the general fund. On page 20, you will see what they call just the governmental funds. And what this is the old basis of accounting, which we called the modified accrual basis of accounting. You'll see on the balance sheet there that there's no long-term debt and there's no fixed assets. This statement focuses on the flow of the funds through the city. So it isn't so much what we're invested or what we have money in. What this is more of the flow and what's available to be spent. One item on here I'd like to point out is under the fund balance. In there, about 6 months ago, we had a work session about the unassigned fund balance and what that amount was and what it could be used for. I do want to point out between 2021 and 2022 that our unassigned fund balance is reduced by about $2.1 million. So in 22, we had expenditures in excess of revenue. And I have that in there, but it's just over $2 million. So our actual fund reserves dropped. And I will let you know that fiscal year 23 that just concluded, we have almost identical that amount more in revenues than we have in expenditures. So if we were to see the balances today, they would reflect the balances closer to fiscal year 21 than they would 22. But just know that those amounts went down that year, that we increased expenditures by about $4 million that year over 21. On page 21, what you will see, this is kind of an odd schedule in there, but what this schedule will do is walk you from the full accrual basis statement to the modified accrual basis that I just showed you. So all of the variances in between those statements are right here. This is the reconciliation in between those two. If you were to flip to page 24, real quick, these are our enterprise funds, the water, the sewer. And what I would point out here that we talked about during the budget is you see under each of those, almost at the bottom of the page, is called unrestricted net position. Those are the amounts that are not restricted, for investments, or they're not tied up in capital assets. They're like the available funds. And I would just like to show that water was down to $471,000 and sewer is at $179,000. Those balances are critically low. We need, and the rates that we increased in November of last year are not reflected here. I think that'll help to build that up a little bit, but know that the sewer one is really low. We're going to have to look at the rates of that. The last thing then that I would show is towards the back of the report on page 63. What this statement is each year we pass the budget each year, and we have to show how we are in compliance with that budget. And this statement here will show what the original budget was, the amended budget that they call final, and the actual, okay, that we had in the spending, and if we were over or under budget. And I would just show here that on our expenditures, we are under budget on our actuals were less than the amended budget. And that is state statute that we stay below that. And so I just wanted to report to you that we did, and that those are those balances. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have, or if you wanted to see other parts of the report, I'm happy to go over that. That's just kind of the highlights of the report.
The one thing I noticed, Tom, was on the sewer and water thing. The sewer's down, but the water is also very low. But isn't that part of that because we didn't have the water to sell? Now we do, and the new rate increase should bring that up pretty quickly, shouldn't it?
Correct.
Okay.
It will bring it up. On that, there is an income statement on page 25. And you could see that the water in fiscal year 22 actually lost 573,000. That was the loss that we had, or the change in net position. And our water rate increase will make that up this year. It'll get us closer to where we will break even on that.
Well, we're gonna have to probably do something with the sewer.
But the sewer actually had an increase of 39,000 that year. But I can say in fiscal year 23, we had a substantial loss in the sewer fund, as well as water, because the rates were changed in November, so we had 5 months at the lower amount. But the water rates have been enough that we are covering costs now within the water fund. We're not putting money away towards the debt. We're almost like breaking even. So we may have to look at that financially and see if we need further increases in the water. But right now, I would think the focus would be on the sewer fund.
So isn't some of the sewer fund tied to water usage on the commercial side of things too?
Commercial side, it is tied to the water. On the residential side, it's a flat fee.
So have you seen any increase on the commercial side this year?
We have.
For the sewer part?
Yes, we have. Yep.
Probably an unfair question because you probably don't know it, but what's the percentage of commercial and residential?
I don't know that. I'll have to
I'm
look.
just curious because
Yeah.
if like businesses, are doing much better, but they're 4% of the total, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We might look at that later. You don't have to do that now, Tom.
Okay, no, I'll look. I was wondering if they broke it out on the statement, and they don't, but I will follow up.
Anybody else?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Tom. So we've had a motion and a second, and is there any more discussion before we go to a vote? Please open online voting.
Online voting is open. Online voting has closed. The motion passes with 5 yeas.
All right, thank you. And thank you, Tom, for all your hard work. Catching all those audits up and stuff we're current now, and so I feel like a semi just got drove off me because we've been so far behind, but thank you for catching up. All right, next thing on our agenda is a resolution. Councilperson Lumen.
I move to approve resolution authorizing submission of an American Rescue Plan Act, ARPA, grant application for local governments to be submitted for source water collection and transmission design to Wyoming State and Investment Board, SLIB. The total project cost is $1,500,940. The city will match 51% in the amount of $765,480. The grant ask will be 49% in the amount of $735,460.
Second.
A motion made and seconded to approve the resolution authorizing submission of a American Rescue Plan Act, ARPA, grant application for local governments to be submitted for source water collection and transmission design to Wyoming State and Investment Board, SLIB. The total project cost is $1,500,940. The city will match 51% in the amount of $765,480. The grant ask will be 49% in the amount of $735,460. Is there any discussion? Councilman Weisenberg.
I just want to say thank you, Tom. Sitting through that meeting was amazing to see the work at hand that you and your staff has done to get to this point, and the cooperation and the involvement that everybody on the state level is reached out and becoming more aware and involved in this situation we have ongoing. So thank you for your due diligence in that. And the other thing with this is if it passes, just keep us informed. SLIB's in October, you said, of the date, so we can head down to Cheyenne with you to be a team on that.
Thank you.
I concur. Any further discussion? Please open online voting.
Online voting is open. Online voting has closed. The motion passes with 5 yeas.
All right, thank you very much. Next thing on our agenda is item F. Councilman Garner.
I move to authorize the approval of matching funds of 51% totaling $765,480, with a $90,480 coming from the Water Enterprise Fund and $675,000 from the mineral royalty grant that the city of Rawlins received.
Second.
Been a motion made and seconded to authorize the approval of matching funds of 51%, totaling $765,480, with $90,480 coming from the Water Enterprise Fund and $675,000 from the Mineral Royalty Grant, MRG, that the city of Rawlins received. Is there any discussion? And again, if you would like to explain, Tom, here.
Sure. Honorable Mayor, this resolution will establish the match. The first one was the submission of the grant. This one's the match. And we get more points towards the grant on the scale that we get from SLIB. We would get 3 points if we were to match it at 51%. So as part of that match, we were able to get an MRG grant that was awarded to the city for $675,000. Those are all state funds, and we're able to match a state grant to a federal grant as a match. So what we're asking here is to put the full $675,000 as a match towards this, and what we would fall short was the $90,000 number that we would recommend comes out of the cash reserves of the water fund.
Any questions or discussion? All right, thank you. Please open online voting.
Online voting is open. Online voting has closed. The motion passes with 5 yeas.
All right, thank you. With that, I will adjourn this. And is there anything else that needs to come before this board before we close? Okay, seeing nothing, I'll adjourn this meeting. Next meeting, August 15th, 2023. Thank you all.
Terry, on that last motion, did the wording throw you off with the numbers?
I read that same thing, right? Like I was reading that earlier today, and I'm like, wait a second, and I